I don't want to put too much stress on interpreters. It's a very long day. So from the morning, you know already that probably I'm not a big admirer of growth per se. To have unlimited growth of economy on a limited planet doesn't really sound as good thinking. So I would really strongly suggest that we have to discuss how we can dematerialize economic growth in the cases when the growth is still needed and possible. And that is by using less resources more efficiently, by decreasing your mental impact of resource use, reuse and recycle, for example, by introduction of circular economy. And these are all positive measures that could lead to decoupling of growth and material use or impact on resources. But there are also other proposed measures to increase growth, and that's through integrating new services on the markets, by integrating externalities, and this can include financialization of nature that I think it will not contribute to protection of nature, and it will exclude part of the society, particularly poor people, from using resources for their needs. So we really need to rethink our economy. We have to design a new economy that is embedded in the environment and supportive for the society. And we always have to remember that the purpose of current economic system is to make profit for the shareholders and owners, and its purpose is not to provide jobs, because they are considered the cost of production, and neither is purpose to protect the environment. So the current economic system basically doesn't need neither of these two important things. And in the introductory paper for this session, there was part of reindustrialization, so how we can actually provide development for the countries that still need to develop. I would say that we have to be really careful with advocating for reindustrialization for two reasons. One is the impact on the environment, and second is that with current development of technology and automation, maybe we will not get the jobs that we would like to have by that process. On the positive side, there are already proved that investing in renewable technologies and developing economy of renewables, and it's going to increase number of jobs, and also, let's say, shifting from industrial agriculture to agroecology will also increase number of jobs. So we have to look at these job-intensive areas that are also positive for environment and invest in them. Then in terms of jobs, of course, we can always look at shortening working hours. That has been advocated for many times. There are some experiments going on in perhaps country needs to be richer to afford that because of the cost, but basically it can be done. In Netherlands are a good example where many people are working 3 or 4 days a week, and then the spare time they can invest either in care work in the families or in other activities in society, which also can contribute to quality of health and increase happiness and social cohesion too. We will have to think of what is the enabling, supporting legal framework for getting these changes. For instance, one of those could be supporting small and medium social enterprises. A very good example that I look at is in Scotland, which is a small country. It's not even a country per se, but it's part of the United Kingdom still. But they had special legislation on social enterprises, which basically oblige people. They have some benefits, but they also obliges those who run them that they reinvest the most of the profit back into the production. So that's that way the profit is not extracted from the company, and it supports more job creation. When we look at different sectors, of course, there's many changes. I already say that in energy sector we promote that it's decentralized energy production, that also ownership is decentralized and community-based, and or under this democratic control for bigger system. We can also look at agriculture, as already mentioned, then transportation sector. There's lots of talk about shifting to electric cars, but probably the creating cities in a way that are much more friendly to pedestrians and cyclists, and they have a good public transportation. In terms of urban development, and that's maybe from point of civil society organizations sometimes neglected, how we design our cities, how the cities are actually created or redesigned, or in terms of how they provide green spaces, how they support pedestrian. We can also invest in urban agriculture and energy production, particularly solar energy on the buildings, for the new buildings. And for the old buildings, and that's in Eastern Europe, lots of scope for improvement is energy efficiency in housing. We have very energy efficient housing in this part of the world, and that's number one actually measure that can be put in place in terms of benefits for environment, and also in terms of benefits for the pockets of people who are paying energy, no matter is it heating in winter or cooling in summer. So I would say that should be number one. The first one, because it's very low tech and it's also can create lots of jobs. We should protect the public services and resources and bring them under democratic control, and that means either stop privatization of utilities and natural resources or bring them back. We have many examples of how this privatization has gone wrong, and we also have example of remunicipalization of those sectors in some countries, be it in Europe, be it in Latin America. There are many examples of such cases that in Georgia probably would be particularly relevant, because what I heard, you had privatization in the 90s, very volatile, like we did in Croatia, and sometimes it seems that it's very hard to bring that back under the public control. Then I think the next measure that we should try to promote is to promote commons and cooperatives. Commons can be so from energy production, for cooperatives for energy production, and the common management of, let's say, agricultural land. In some cases, even in our countries, there still exists this communal management of agricultural land that is not recognized in legislation. And it's really problematic because it doesn't give rights to people, particularly villages that still have, let's say, pastures, like commons, and they don't give any rights, any protection, or any support by legislation. In some other countries, particularly in the global south, we see lots of land grab of commons because the state doesn't recognize them legally. So to put in a legal framework a recognition of commons, I think would be a big step forward. And of course to have legal framework for supporting cooperative production and consumption. Then I think another measure that we should focus to, that we try to increase participatory decision making and improve democratic procedures. We know that there is a lot of democratic deficit in our countries, and we see quite a negative trend actually in all Eastern Europe. And that's something that lots of people in changes in the 90s were looking forward to have a democracy, and now we kind of see that the implementation of it was not what we had expected. So having a joint action to protect these spaces, democratic spaces, or to promote participatory decision making on local level is very important. For instance, we are promoting now in my country with some local political parties to have participatory budgeting for the cities. It's still kind of only idea in our country, but in some other places it's in place. And I would say what we have to do also is to increase resistance to false solutions. There are still many proposals that are not going in the direction that we want to, particularly new investment in fossil fuels. that are going to lock in for next decades consumption of fossil fuels, I would say that this is very big urgency that we, each project, each new coal power plant, each new pipeline that we stop is big victory because it's built to something bigger in the next decades. And I was really trying to speak very quickly, and I have only one thing to say now. And I think the last thing I would like to share with you tonight, that we have to spread this narrative. So places like this are really useful, but all of you have to go back home and into your communities, into your organizations, and try to promote these messages to much wider public, because we really need to build a very strong movement. And we have to increase popular education to deliver this change that is needed to be delivered. Thank you.
Thank you.